Good evening. The Who's today were on at Rosehill, of course. It was Golden Slipper Day, and the track was 7. We had a bit of a light shower before the first race. It was a slow 7, they said. The rail was 4 metres out, and there was a bit of a nor'easterly, light nor'easterly blowing, which I don't think had any effect on the results. Of course, we all saw how the fence was no good, and along came the slipper, and of course the Avery and winner. It drew barrier 1 over reach, the filly, and of course there was no quarter given, even by the stable riders, the Pumper and Nippy Nash. They said, no, you're in there, and you're staying in there, and which he had to. But this filly was outstanding. She got through on the inside, finished very wide on the track. She's the new More Joyous. She's very good, this horse, and she'll go on and win plenty of races. Going back to the first race, well, this was a joke, like a later race. It was a stroll in the park. It was won by the favourite, Lights of Heaven. Now, first of all, on the screen, they said there was 103.9, and in the marketplace, there was a good 5 less. There was only about 98% in the marketplace, and this favourite, after opening up $2.50 Lights of Heaven, got out to $3.20, plenty of it, and only started $2.90, hard to get, and it sat in the 1-1 position and just eased off heels before the turn. Eased out wide. They were getting the leader finish up running last. Why not? Eased down, and the favourite, of course, she's a good galloper, and went away and won by 1.8 lengths after having a very easy run. Running second in the race was Hoylonny, who got a bit of or jumped awkwardly, copped a little bit of a check in the run. It went through on the inside, and was beaten, as I say, 1.8 lengths, and having every possible chance. Coming off the favourites back was Sedcom, who was a 12 out of $15 chance. The other well-backed runner in this race was the second horse, Hoylonny. I gave $5.50. That wouldn't appear on the flux, so there's a couple of percentage points, couple of percent that you wouldn't see straight away. It only started $4.40 or $4.60, and it more or less had its chance. Lumiere was very disappointing, as the price suggested. It went from a $4.40 chance out to as much as $7. There was no pace in the race, and the winner was a bit too good for them. The second race, this was for the 3-year-olds, and of course the favourite. Now, I don't know how it never appeared on the flux for $5 about number 1, but it was always, well, it got out to $5. Plenty of it at the finish of betting. It was about $4 out to $5 few Urza, and it did drew barrier 1, and of course it was close to the fence all the way, which wasn't really the place to be. But this winner, Champollion, it was a very good win. It copped a bit of a dip at the start, apparently, in reading the Steele's report, and it was held up slightly. It came from third last, in between runners, turning for home, and it showed good acceleration once it saw daylight, and it went straight through the high diddle. Up front leading was its stablemate, Aspen, who was extremely well backed, from as much as $9 into $6. It led. It ran a fair race. When they came to the turn, he was off the fence, McAvoy, Clever Karen, and but the winner, which was $17 out to 21, taken back into 20. Only firmed that little bit, but if it's the difference between laying 10,000 to 500 and 9,500 to 500. It's a bit of difference, and that's all it takes in the tight marketplace that we have these days. And as I say, that the 21 was taken, but not the 20. If you're 21, yes, how much you want on it, but not the, it won't take the 19 to 1, it will take the 20. That's what it's got down to, and it was back to that at the $21, and as I say, it made up a lot of ground, and I'd go as far as to say it was the best run in the race. It was trapped wide in the race, Sanazuk, and I suppose its run was a little bit better than it looked, but the winner I thought was a good win. Race 3. Going back to that race, on the screen they said there was 107.6, and we got there was only about 3 less in the marketplace, around about the 104.5. Race 3 they said there was 104.5 in the on the screen, and only maybe 1 less in the marketplace. It was spot on, the teleprinter, and the starting favourite in this race was Proverb, who was it went up a 5 to 2 chance, got out to $3.70, and only started $2.70. God, there was plenty of section for it. 370 to 360, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, $3. They killed you for the $3 all the way in, and 290, and they took the $2.80. It was extremely well backed. It was held up in between runners slightly, Proverb, but gee whiz, it was a bit disappointing. It more or less it didn't deserve to be a 7 to 4 chance if you run that race over again. Winning this race was Philippi. Now it was on the back it was more or less on the back of the favourite down the side, and when they turned for home, Luke Nolan, he was able to just ease off heels very a little bit abruptly, causing a little bit of a bump to a couple of runners, forcing them a little bit wider on the turn, but it accelerated very quickly, and it went up to the leaders after travelling past midfield, coming to the turn, and raced up to them very quickly, and put the race, once it joined them, beyond doubt, and went away and won easily by 3 lengths. Sitting fourth behind the leaders on the fence was Hippo Puss, ridden by Nippy Nash. It drew barrier 2. It was always on the fence behind the leaders. I suppose it was in the worst section of the track, and it got beat the 3 lengths, as I say, running second. And on its outside was the 150 to 1 chance in about 5th position, Sir Denzel, and it plugged away into 3rd place, beaten 4 lengths. The winner was by far the best run in that race. Run the race again, and it would be the clear favourite. Race 4, they said there was 106.1 on the screen, and only a couple less in the marketplace. Only about 100. We got about 104. The favourite, I must admit, I found it a little bit hard to lay. I did lay it for plenty of section, Norzita, but it was $3 at the finish on my board and boards on the fence, and it was given a good run by horseman Huey Bowman. He settled down just more or less midfield on the fence, eased off heels, turning for home. The second horse in this race, It's Swear Blind, that it wasn't the same runner that went around at Kembla last start, Longport. There was a lot of bias from the track at Kembla, and it was sensationally back down at Kembla at last start, and it got a good run up near the lead where you had to be and near the fence, and it dropped out. It dropped out. It was having its 3rd run back from a spell last start, but it dropped out and got beat very easily. Today, going straight to the lead was She's a Girl, and Longport sat and looked at it all the way. It was able to get past the She's a Girl, who was a 150 to 1 chance, turning for home, and it took Bowman, all of his strength and to beat Longport by a half a length. Not that he wasn't always going to beat it from the 250 metre mark on, but he thought he was going to go away from Longport, but all the way down the straight they fought it out. It's always going to beat him, but only beat him by only beat the other filly by the half a length. So Longport's run, as we saw in its last campaign, it can fight on. But as I say, geez, it was a big improvement from Kemmler, and the winner, it was a good run. It was a good win. Habibi, the third horse, which started second favourite, it opened up $5, got out to $5.50. It was only given for a fleeting moment, not much of it, but plenty of $5. It only started $4.20 Habibi, and as Mark Sheen said, after they only got a few furlongs, they were going down the side, well, a little bit further than that. It was being niggled at a little bit, Habibi, to keep up. It was racing in front of the winner, and it ran third, beaten 3.2 lengths. It was nearly 6 lengths away to the fourth horse, so I found that it had third covered well, but first and second were far better runs. It was only it seems to be very dour, Habibi, and maybe it needed a bit more pace on, although they did run along fairly well. And look, there was no other excuses, more or less, for there were a couple of slight checks that runners the cop, but nothing to say that anything was unlucky. In first and second were by far the best runs. Now race 5 came along, the BMW. Well, this was this was a joke, this weight for age race. There was only one 3-year-old in the race, a 5.5 star with a 54.5. We've all read Banjo's poem, and I'll read it to you once more. There's some that ride like amateurs and bump at every stride, while others sit a long way back to get a longer ride. There's some that ride as sailors do, with legs and arms and teeth, and some ride on the horse's neck, and some ride underneath. But all the finest horsemen out, the men to beat the band, you'll find amongst the crowd that ride their races in the stand. They'll say, he had the race in hand, and he lost it in the straight. They'll show how Bowman came too soon, and Brown, he came too late. They'll say Rawiller lost his nerve, and Nolan lost his head. They'll tell how one was fresh, was livened up, and something else was dead. In fact, the race was never run on sea, or sky or land, but what you get, it better done by riders in the stand. The rule holds good in everything in life's uncertain fight. You'll find the winners can't go wrong, and the loser can't go right. You ride a slashing race and lose, and won by all your band, but ride like a bag of flour and win, yeah, and I'll cheer you from the stand. Well, I've got to say, I don't know whether I understand it, but this race with the BMW today, they went out the straight the first time, and Huey, as we all know, yeah, everyone's got the map, and this is how the race is going to be run. 5.5 star, it's going to lead. He went straight to the lead, went past the winning post, 3 and 4 off the fence. As he started to slide around the bend, he got closer to the fence, went up the side and down the back, and he set a nice, even, good pace. Not going fast, but not going slow. But then when he got into the back, going out of the back straight, well, it had a half a picnic, but then he sat up, and they all just went nothing. They all just bumped, and a couple of runners because they all got squashed up like a concertina. The Lucky Day and a few others, and Niwot got pushed wide, and they kept on easing. Well, like any riders looking at this, like, what is the story? You're ding dong dells, or like Lester Piggott? Well, he's the best rider of all times. There's no doubting that. Not that these blokes can ride, but surely to God, when they got to the like 1,000 metre mark, when he'd already had a little bit of a picnic up front, Huey, you think that well, it wasn't until the 650 metre mark when Nippy Nash on Collini, he just pulled out, and instead of, I think it would have been on one of Gay's, of course, it would have been wild, but he pulled out, and he didn't show a lot of vigour. He just sort of ran up to 5.5 star, and as I say, now they're at the 600 metre mark, and Huey said, "Gee whiz, I've fair dinkum got away with Blue Murder here," and it wasn't a 2,400 metre race; it was a 650 metre race, and he took off, and it was a sprint from their home. Now, like we talk about it all the time. Like Tommy Smith won 32 or 33 premierships in a row by being up in front. I'd love to know how many races Gay's won by having an easy time up in front. Don't you, the riders, sure, like if you're driving a car and you mightn't be in a hurry. You're going to the races. We all leave to go to the races and know how long it takes to get to the meeting, and then we're in an 80 zone. But if the traffic starts, there's 2 or 3 lanes, and if the traffic starts to slow down to 60, you'll follow. I think you might. I pull out and I keep on doing the speed limit, and I'll go around doing the 80. But everyone starts, oh yes, they're all doing 60, so I'll do 60. The fair dinkum barbars. He got away with Blue Murder in this race. Run this race over again as many times as you want, and this horse wouldn't be winning 5.5 star. It got the chocolates. It went up $3.50. The second horse in this race, Silent Achiever, it settled down last on the fence, and in the 650 metre race, it took off and got up on the inside of them and got beat 0.2 of a length. Sangster, it was in the 1-1 position. It was very disappointing. It's only very one-paced. And you knew that surely to Christ, what did you? It looked like it was a race at Harold Park at the Red Hots. Or did you think when you got to the turn it was the Bell Lap or something that you had all the riders? Did you think you had to go around again? Surely you knew this was it. But no. Oh well, I will go. Oh, they're taking. I will go now. Fair dinkum team of ding dongs. Anyway, it got the cash 5.5 star, and on the screen they said there was 105.9, 104 in the marketplace, and I suppose I'm talking through my kick. I stood this for a fair dinkum, you know what for, and it went from $3.50 to out to $4.80, back into $4.20, but back out to $4.60 towards the end of betting. Forteller was a bit hard to lay, although it was always $7.50. Manuego, Marwego, I should say, was $21. Neatwatt was 26 to 21. Collini, 15 into 12. A lucky day, it was very easy to betting. Got from about a $7 chance out to 10. Gatewood was $30. Kuczynski was hundreds into 80s. Sangster, a bit hard to lay, 11 out to 13. Leroy, they took $15, started 13. Hathras, it was $6 out to $7.50. Silent Achiever, 7 out to $8, taken into $7.50. Excuse me, back out to $8.50. And the winner, as I've told you. But It was it didn't win the race. Horseman Huey Bowman stole this race for connections. Race 6. Um, Race 6, there was a 108.7 on the screen, and that was about what we got in the marketplace. And it just goes to show you what a champion mare More Joyous is. She was a certainty beaten. She opened up $1.70 and never moved off $1.70 the entire length of betting. And of course, we all saw what happened. Cafe Lady went straight to the lead. Spirit Song on its outside. It copped a little bit of a check and lost a plate. On the fence, after missing the kick, was what we thought would be the leader. And I suppose if it jumps, the race might have been different. That was Pearl Tart, Pear Tart, I should say, after missing the kick. Then it got a run up on the inside because nobody wanted to go there. On its Nash was on its didn't go near the fence, and maybe if he did go to the fence, he might have won. But it's easy now. It's always easy after the ball. So that he just sat in behind the leaders. But unfortunately for Nash, getting up on his outside was Streamer, ridden by Horseman Bowman. And once Bowman knew that he had Nash in there, he said, well, unfortunately, Nash, you're not getting out as far as I'm concerned. And that was the case. And another runner in the race, Red Tracer, ridden by Corey Catwalk Brown, well, when they turned for home, he didn't want to go near the fence, but he saw what was what the situation was with More Joyous, of course, and when he got inside More Joyous and Pear Tart, and that's where Nash would have been going if Red Tracer hadn't have got there before him. But Nash was unfortunately in a situation where he had to try and force his way through, and you could see that wasn't going to happen because they were racing really tight, and the riders were very competitive riding against the favourite, and squashed him up, and she copped a severe check, and she got up off the canvas, and she finished up running 5th, only beaten about 1.5 lengths, or maybe 2.3 lengths, or whatever the margin was. She only had to get clear running at the top of the straight, and she would have won very easily. Bias on the track and the way the race was run, we all saw what happened, and she was the best thing beaten you've ever seen. Coming the winner appearance, well, the Red Tracer, as a streamer, I should say, was while it was holding the favourite in a pocket, it finished up running 3rd streamer. Appearance was 3 wide karting on its back, and Appearance it went on and won the race, and getting held up slightly was Red Tracer, and it went through a split in between the leader, Cafe Lady, and held on, and it ran 2nd, and Streamer 3rd. But we all saw More Joyous. She should have trotted in. Now, race 7, we came to the slipper, and here we saw a very, very good filly in, as I said earlier on, Overreach. There was no quarter given. She had barrier 1, and it came across very easily. The Snowden trained, ridden by jovial Josh Parr, Curiosho, and found the fence. And Nathan and Tommy Terrific on the winner. He sat in behind it on the fence. Outside, the leader was Sweet Idea, ridden by Pumper, stablemate to the winner. And outside the favourite was I'm not too sure. And then we had Dothraki, and out 3 wide was Whittington, looking at the situation. Another stablemate to the winner, ridden by Nash. But when they turned for home, she was tied up against the fence. She got inside the leader, Caruscio, who gave in very quickly. And the further they got up the straight, once she got inside, she showed tremendous acceleration and got clear. And then he just kept on easing to the middle of the track, and she went away and won by 1.8 lengths, with the second horse always tagging her in the race, Sidestep. So its run wasn't bad. It came through on the worst section of the ground as well. And the runner who Sweet Idea, who sat outside the leader, Sweet Idea, it finished up, it held on for third, having every possible chance. Besides the winner, the best run in the race was the top weight Criterion. It missed the kick badly by a good length, if not a little bit further. And when they turned for home, horseman Huey Bowman, instead of going to the fence, he eased off heels and went through the middle of the pack, and it made up a lot of ground after missing the kick. Its Criterion's run was very, very good. But this little filly, she is most probably outstanding. I haven't seen her in the flesh. They tell me there's not a lot of her, but if that was the same story with More Joyous, that she might keep on filling out as she gets older. Race 8. This race was won by Piero, and Nash made sure that he wasn't going to be held in a pocket here, although he was inside one runner, but he was half carding 3 wide, but it took him nearly the entire length of straight. Not that he wasn't very similar to when Huey won on Norzita early in the piece. Not that he wasn't going to run down King Mufasa, who led in this race. It came straight across from the outside alley and found the bunny, but was well off the fence. And Nash, he sat in about 6th position with a runner on his outside. I just forget who it was. There was something wide outside Nash, and or he might have, yes, no, he was widest, and he had shootout inside him. That's right. So he might have been out wide facing the breeze. He was on Piero, and when they turned for home, he got a bit of a suck into the race on the back of Laser Hawk. Was it Laser Hawk? I think it might have been the stablemate, and he ran up to the leader, King Mufasa, fairly quickly, and well, having his price in your head, the 5 to 2 on chance laid on, starting $1.35. Everyone thought that, well, it'll go away now, will be a couple of lengths, Piero, but he had to really ride it all the way up the straight to win by 0.4 of a length. So the second horse's run was very good, and there were a couple of other runners. It finished up running third shootout, a good trial, I suppose, for the Doncaster, and coming from back in the field, Manigar, which ran an improved race as other 2 starts in Sydney's campaign, so it might be getting back to good form. So the favourite has won that race, but you know, it didn't win like a 5 to 2 on chance. Anyone who laid the 5 to 2 on, you run that race over again, and they most certainly wouldn't be laying it on. Then we came to the last race, and this was won by Hot Schnitzel. It was a very, very easy win. Always travelled well, the winner. Hidden Warrior came across and led. Tiger Tease, who Michael Rodd said he wasn't happy with its action all the way through the race. It was sitting second. Rolling Pin from barrier 2 was tucked in behind the leader. More or less out on its outside was the winner, Hot Schnitzel. Trapped 3 wide outside the leaders and finishing well back in the field was second effort. And outside the winner was Lady's Angel. And when they turned for home, they started to get away from the fence, and there was plenty of gaps up near the lead, and for that matter, plenty of gaps for every runner in the race if they were good enough to run on. But the winner showed too much acceleration and went. He just coasted up to the leaders. He was always just behind them, as I say. And when he pressed the button, bowled Blake Shin, who had 4 rides yesterday at Canberra for 4 wins, all on favourites. He's riding very well at the moment. And when he pressed the button, Hot Schnitzel, it accelerated very quickly, finished up winning by 2.25 lengths. When it got clear, there was nothing in the race coming, and the race was over at the 150, even 200 metre mark when it strode through. The favourite, Tiger Tease, it was a bit disappointing. As I say, the rider said its action was never right from the time, but the vet couldn't find anything wrong with it by the same token. And besides being trapped 3 wide in the run, second effort, and I think it was trapped wide, star of octagonal. I haven't really dissected this meeting. I'll do the tape. We've got to go to Wyong tomorrow, of course, but there weren't any really hard luck stories, and the winner was by far the best run. But what about these meetings that they keep on ramming down the neck? Like there we were last week. We had the Easter weekend. We had races on the Saturday and again on the Sunday, and then of course we tested out Randwick on the Monday. Now everyone's out on their feet, aren't they? You know, and then they've got 2 meetings on Tuesday out wide. There were 3 people there. It's just absurd. It is. Well, they really think the punters can back up, you know. And then there's Wednesday out at Warwick Farm, and then of course Gosford. What a blessing it was when Gosford was washed out. It was like Christmas Day. And then we had yesterday a couple of more meetings, and then here we are again today. And then we've got Wyong tomorrow. All the punters, they'll be lining up to get to Wyong. And there's 3 people there. The TAB's got them. Who did sign that contract with the TAB? Anyway, and what I had a look this morning. This will tell you the TAB. To the tab, what about the turnover on the tab itself? It wasn't in days gone by. You turn Saturday morning, forget about Saturday morning, Friday afternoon, and say Saturday morning, you turn on and you get the early totes for the Golden Slipper, you know, and going back years gone by, holding a couple of $100,000, $100,000 in the pool, back in those days, which is a good bit of section, plenty little stack of money. I turned on the tab this morning, or had a look at some odds and whatever, and see what the joint's doing, and see if there many mistakes, but there's no mistakes. And of course, the Golden Slipper, it was holding $20,000. That was about 9 o'clock in the morning. $20,000. There are 2,000 agencies, let alone all the millions who have got accounts who can ring up from home and have a bet. Forget about those people. There's 2,000 agencies. Was holding 20,000. It's $10. It's a brick, a tab. They're holding no money. Where are they going to give all this money to the race clubs to give all this prize money away? Now they're betting. I told you, it's like the best fixed odds. All the mugs are tumbling into the fixed odds. If the tab's got up, if bookies on course are $3.50, and it's $3 on the tab's only got to go $3.20, and of course no one will take the $3 on the tab. They say, oh, we're taking fixed odds, $3.20, we're $3.50 on the course. Oh, that tab pool, it's decreasing all the time. They're in a bit of froth and bubble. Good evening.